with early voting underway, polling places are seriously beefing up security. That's because since 2020, the Justice Department says it has investigated more than 1,000 threats to election workers. And according to a survey by the Brennan Center, 1 in 5 election workers say they were unlikely to stay in their jobs through 2024. Joining me now for more, ABC News contributor and former DHS official John Cohen. So, John, just last week in Arizona, we reported on that voter intimidation complaint that was filed after a group of camo-clad people were accused of harassing voters there, dropping off early ballots outside of Maricopa County election headquarters. What more do we know about this group, if any, and is there concern that we're going to see this in other states as well?
Yeah, good afternoon, Kara. There's real concern that we're going to see this type of activity in other states. For a variety of reasons, we're in the midst of the most complex, dynamic threat environment I've seen in the close to 40 years that I've been working in law enforcement and Homeland Security. The nation is in the midst of a political environment that's highly polarized, anger. Too many people across the country view those who disagree with them as the enemy. We're in the midst of a multi-year trend where we've been experiencing mass shootings, such as the ones you discussed earlier in the show. We are seeing mass casualty attacks and acts of targeted violence directed at people and facilities based on the race, religious beliefs, ethnicity, political beliefs associated with those people and facilities. And we are increasingly seeing threats directed at law enforcement, government officials broadly, and election officials. And these acts of violence are fueled by an online ecosystem that's saturated with conspiracy theories and other narratives that are placed there by foreign intelligence services, terrorist groups, and domestic violent extremists. And one of those conspiracy theories that are promoted widely by these threat actors has to do with the integrity of our election system and regarding the 2020 election. So it's a highly volatile environment. Law enforcement has real concerns about the calls for violence that we're seeing far too present online.
So enhanced security at polling places this year includes panic buttons, metal detectors, extra security guards, active shooter training for workers. I mean, what does this all say to you, John?
It says that we need to lower the temperature of the political discourse in this country, that we have far too many people and groups who are feeding the anger. If you go online and look at extremist forums, you will see calls to kill election officials. You will see calls for people to go into polling sites armed and interrogate voters to ensure that they're not voting illegitimately. You'll see calls for people to maintain surveillance on ballot drop boxes and to question people who are using those boxes. All of these calls for violence and threatening behavior is fueled, quite frankly, by the inaccurate conspiracy theory that the election was stolen and that this upcoming election is going to be stolen as well. So the most important thing we can do as a country is to lower the temperature, for people to understand that when they see these conspiracy theories being promoted online, when they hear them coming out of the mouths of those running for office, that they're just simply not true. Law enforcement, state and local law enforcement around the country are working with election officials. They're working with the Department of Homeland Security. They're working with the FBI to ensure that this election is safe and secure. But all of us have a role to play as well. And that includes, first, not believing the conspiracy theories. And second, means that if you see something suspicious, report it to local police.
And, you know, election officials in some states say they've even had a hard time getting federal aid promised by DOJ and DHS. You know, the head of the National Association of State Election Directors said that money was even claimed by local police departments and others more familiar with those programs. So where's that money going?
Yeah, that's unclear. I think there will be some questions asked about how effective the federal planning was in the lead up of this midterm election. We've seen more threat briefings recently. We've seen greater outreach. What election officials around the country should know is that there's funds that are available through the Department of Homeland Security, through the Justice Department, to pay for security upgrades in and around the election infrastructure. If you're an election official and you receive a threat, notify local police or the FBI.
John Cohen, it's going to be an interesting election season. Thanks so much, John.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.